Dear friends of the Austrian Embassy, dear friends of classical music, together with my compatriot, good friend and neighbor in Stockholm, Elisabeth Waldstein, I would like to welcome you at the Austrian residence on a very special occasion. Celebrating Beethoven's birthday together with a member of the family that had such a huge impact on Beethoven's life and music is indeed a unique moment for me. Hence, I'm extremely grateful to Elisabeth for sharing with us some insights into her family's particular relationship with Beethoven. Elisabeth already told me that one of her forefathers, Count Ferdinand von Waldstein, to whom Beethoven dedicated his famous Waldstein sonata, was a very particular, even a slightly controversial personality. He met Beethoven in Bonn. But this is more for Elisabeth to speak about. From my side, I would just like to mention the particular relationship that the Waldsteins share with Sweden. And this goes back to far earlier than Beethoven's time. It all started with probably the most prominent member of this big noble family, Albrecht von Waldstein, commanding general of the armies of the Holy Roman Empire during the 30 Years' War. His Bohemian soldiers, Elisabeth told me, were unable to pronounce his name properly, and they called him simply Wallenstein. Under that name, he became known on the battlefields, in history and literature. Those frosty war times during Wallenstein's life saw different codes of conduct, and Swedish soldiers did what was common practice at that time. They looted the Waldstein Palace in Prague. They also removed from the palace's park the bronze statues by the famous Dutch sculptor Adriaan de Vries. Those statues finally made their way to the park of Drottningholm Palace. On my first visit to Drottningholm, with my slightly outdated city guide book Stockholm in hands, I was looking in vain for them. They have been replaced by modern bronze casts, while the valuable originals can now be seen in the Museum de Vries, not far away from Drottningholm. Bonn, Vienna, Prague, Stockholm, the Waldsteins are present everywhere. And here with us today is Elisabeth Waldstein, honoring Beethoven the day he was baptized 250 years ago. Elisabeth, the stage is yours.
As Gudrun already told, it's a big honor for me to today talk about the relationship between my family and Ludwig van Beethoven, whose 250th birthday we're celebrating. My family member, Ferdinand von Waldstein, went to Bonn. He was born in Vienna, and he went to Bonn. He was only 25 years by then, and Beethoven was 17 years old by then. And he was a very interested, culturally and artistically interested person. So he was actively looking for people to really support. And in Bonn, he met on the court the young Beethoven, who was working there as an organist actually. And he understood, this is somebody I really should promote. And the two of them became friends. Ferdinand von Waldstein wrote this very, very, very famous phrase into Beethoven's diary, because he knew that Beethoven needed to go to Vienna in order to really develop all his potential. So Beethoven wanted to go to Vienna. The Count Waldstein already had ordered an earlier trip, a short trip to Vienna, where Beethoven actually was meant to meet Mozart and to take some lessons with Mozart. But this trip had to be shortened as Beethoven had to go back because his mother was very ill. So Waldstein organized a later trip, and there he wrote in the Stammbuch, you say in German, that Beethoven should go to Vienna to receive Mozart's spirit from Haydn's hands, because Haydn was going to be his teacher. And those three big names, Mozart, Haydn, Beethoven, were the three members of the Wiener Classic. So Beethoven actually went to Vienna and had the chance to study with Haydn and then later on with other people. Waldstein was quite musical. He played even the piano, and Beethoven did even some compositions about a little theme that he had written. So they were friends, but this Waldstein was quite an adventurer. So he got obsessed of the idea that Napoleon's armies need to be defeated in Europe. So he wanted to unite an army, and it was a catastrophe, both militarily and financially for him. So he had not good luck with money, he had not good luck with his adventures, so he had many debts, and he really lost all his money with all those operations and also with his way of living, although he had helped Beethoven substantially in the beginning, even for Beethoven to go to Vienna. But then the beautiful thing is, when Waldstein, after all his adventures, came back to Vienna, he was really miserable, I would say, in a miserable situation. And normally big composers dedicated their works to personalities in order to make them pay for something. But in this case, when he came back to Vienna, Beethoven had nothing to expect from him. Beethoven could not gain anything from doing that from him. And this shows to me that there was a real friendship, that Beethoven came in there and dedicated this incredible, beautiful, one of the biggest piano sonatas ever written, to his friend, Ferdinand von Waldstein, who was by then in a really miserable condition. And he died in a miserable condition. It was really a testifying of a deep friendship, that Beethoven somehow was so grateful for the things Waldstein had done for him when he could not help himself, when he could not go to Vienna, although he longed for it and wanted to. And so he dedicated this sonata, which is like a really milestone in piano literature. It became like a break, it became like a point from which on piano music was conceived differently. All the big romantic composers wouldn't have been possible without this kind of opening. It's very virtuous, it's really hard to play, it's not an easy thing to play. So when some months ago Gudrun asked me, Elisabeth, do you have this sonata on your repertory? I told her, yes, I actually have. So she told me about the project of playing the Waldstein Sonata on the Beethoven 250th birthday, and to get the connection between the Waldstein family and Beethoven's life and the influence that they had on him. So this is a big honor and a very special moment for me to be able to play this sonata, which was dedicated to one of my relatives. And this is somehow also a historical moment.